in the world. It's collaborating time. Welcome, WrestleRanters, to the monumental, historic 75th edition of WrestleRant here today after the show has been going for over a year strong. Now I thank you all to my supporters who's been supporting the show since the very beginning. And of course, to celebrate this very special occasion, I walked out to CM Punk's entrance music, Cult of Personality, while wearing my WWE Championship, the same title that CM Punk has been wearing around his waist for over 300 days in the WWE since Survivor Series last year. So he breaks a record, I break a record here tonight with my 75th edition of WrestleRant. Let's get right down to it for the September 17th edition of Monday Night Raw. A very, very good show. Very disappointed that I wasn't able to attend it live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And just speaking of Cult of Personality, that's exactly what kicked off the show. If I was there, I'd be marking the hell out for Cult of Personality. However, it wasn't CM Punk who walked out. It was Paul Heyman. Coming out talking about the finish of the Night of Champions WWE Championship match. Paul Heyman, always a great mic worker, great way to kick off the show. John Cena comes down, just talking about the finish of the show. Excuse me. But it was a very convoluted, controversial finish to the WWE Championship match. Really nothing to say there, kind of mostly because John Cena's shoulders were indeed down, and he admitted that. There was really no screw job here until later in the night, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But still, that seemed a little bit confusing. But nonetheless, Del Rio comes down a bit randomly, might I add. It wants another match for the World's Heavyweight Championship. He demands a rematch for his respective world title after losing the Night of Champions. AJ comes out, books a tag team match for later in the night. Cena and Sheamus versus Del Rio and Punk in the main event. Winner gets a Night of Champions rematch as far as Cena and Del Rio go. So going on, we have our first match tonight, a very good match to kick off the show. Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara tag teaming against the tandem of Primo and Epico. A very, very fun match. As I've said in recent WrestleRants, Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara are a dream team. Very, very glad to see them team up here. Hope to see them team up more in the future. As reports have been indicating, they look to be going for the WWE Tag Team Championships at one point, and then break up after that subsequently, and then feuding with each other going into WrestleMania 29. I think that'd be brilliant booking. Hopefully they stick with that. But nonetheless, this is a very, very good match. Just very, very similar styles between the two teams as well, so I enjoyed that. Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara pick up the victory. Following the matchup, the Primetime Players attack Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara very viciously, cut a promo saying that they will not be bullied around, that they will take their chances, that they were screwed out of the #1 contender spot by Kane and Debray, especially AJ, since she made the match last week. So, and a very intense promo from the Primetime Players. I like the Primetime Players. They are entertaining, but when they get down and vicious and angry and pissed off and intense, that's when they're at their best, and this really, really showed here. I'm loving the tag team features they got going on now. They have the Primetime Players, Primo and Epico, Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara, Truth and Kingston, Kane and Debray, a lot of awesome tag teams, and that's only the start of it. Let's not forget about Gabriel and Kidd, the Usos, and many, many more. So the tag team division in WWE is certainly growing. Really liking what I'm seeing here, and I'm really excited about the division for the first time in months. Going on for our Divas match tonight, Eve defeating Beth Phoenix in a non-title matchup. Pretty brief, good for what it was. We've seen these guys put on better matches last year, part of their Divas Championship feud, so I was a bit disappointed with what we got, but nonetheless, Eve picks up the victory here. Layla was at ringside, so they were kind of teasing the feud between Eve and Layla. I like that feud. Both former Divas search winners, both very good wrestlers in the Divas division, so that'd be a really good match if they got more time than they did at Champions. Hopefully they have a rematch at Hell in a Cell, or a triple threat if you throw in Caitlyn as well, who was screwed out of her #1 contender spot at Night of Champions this past Sunday. Going on, throwaway match between Brodus Clay and Heath Slater. We've seen this match about a million times. Really nothing else to say about this. Brodus Clay picks up the squash victory. Antonio Cesaro on commentary, kind of foreshadowing a future feud between Cesaro and Clay over the United States Championship after a report surfaced on Monday that will be happening. Now, I like Cesaro. I like Clay. Put them together in a feud. Not the best booking. I would much rather see Clay go against maybe someone like Tensai after what we saw in the Battle Royal at Night of Champions this past Sunday. Cesaro should continue his feud with Ryder. I think that'd be money. But, they got to do what they got to do, I guess. But at least they both have feuds. Cesaro needs a feud, a legitimate feud, after he's been facing jokes like Santino as of late. And Brodus Clay hasn't really been doing anything either after his feud with Damien Sandow ended. So I think this would be a good feud, just not as great as it could be. Moving on, the debut of Miz TV. Now, I was speculating this on Twitter during the course of the show. I'm not exactly sure if Miz had a similar segment back in his ECW days, maybe in his SmackDown days. I'm not exactly sure. It sounds really, really familiar. But nonetheless, this is a cool concept, in my opinion. I know a lot of people were hating on it because it wasn't all that great last night. I will agree with you there. It wasn't all that controversial, as Miz would say. Not as good as the cutting edge or the highlight reel or whatever, Piper's Pit. But it's still pretty cool. The Miz is a great mic worker. I'm sorry, I'm botching my lines. The Miz is a great mic worker. He just wasn't given all that much time on this show. Wasn't really given all that much to work with. His involvement with Booker T didn't make all that much sense. I didn't really care for what either guy had to say. Hopefully, once Miz gets a feud going, presumably with Ryback, I'll get to that in a second, this show will become more handy. I mean, it could be the host of feuds, much like the Cutting Edge was, or the Highlight Reel was, or Piper's Pit was back in the day. But yeah, going on, Booker T called out Ryback, destroying the set. Miz runs off. So I think that'd be a really cool feud if Ryback continues to attempt to dominate Miz, to demolish the Awesome One. However, the Miz keeps on getting away. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't want to see the Miz buried. Same thing with the Intercontinental Championship. But I think if Ryback ends up winning the Intercontinental Championship, I think that will be pretty cool. And it'd be a really good feud between the two. I think at Hell in a Cell they should have a match, but Ryback wins via DQ, so his streak isn't over. And Miz retains the IC title, then Ryback eventually wins the Intercontinental Championship down the line. So that'd be a really cool feud if Miz was the champion during the course of this feud and Ryback is chasing it. Give both guys direction. I think that'd be a great feud over the prestigious Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler took on Santino Marella next. Kind of a random match. Didn't really care for it. Dolph Ziggler picked up the victory with 2 zigzags. I thought that was cool that he did his finisher twice to make it seem like he was more vicious, more angered, more pissed off after losing to Randy Orton out of Champions. And with that said, Randy Orton should have made some sort of an appearance. After Ziggler didn't interfere with Orton's match later in the night, I'm kind of speculating that the feud is over between the two. I really hope not. I was hoping that Dolph Ziggler would get the upper hand in this feud. Maybe we're going to have to see on SmackDown this week, but I hope it's not over because those guys had a great match at Night of Champions this past Sunday. I would love to see a rematch at Hell in a Cell with Ziggler, this time picking up the victory. So yeah, Santino gets dominated here. Dolph Ziggler, I mean, he needs to get his heat back, but not against a guy named Santino. Dolph Ziggler needs a legitimate opponent, someone in the mid-card that he can get over. After Dolph Ziggler retired Y2J a month ago, he's lost all momentum since then at the hands of Randy Orton. So hopefully Dolph Ziggler can get some momentum going forward. Wade Barrett made his Raw re-debut for the first time in nearly 7 months, defeating Justin Gabriel. Now, personally, this was my highlight of the night, and the point where I was saying, I need to be at this show. I just need to be at the show. First of all, I'm a huge Wade Barrett fan. Since he came back, I've been loving what he's been doing under this new gimmick of the Barrett Barrage and, the bare knuckle fighting style. I'm loving it. New theme, awesome. The new look, awesome. The new moveset is completely awesome. So I'm really liking what they're doing with Wade Barrett. Justin Gabriel got an entrance on the show. Really like that. Justin Gabriel is a tremendous athlete. Really excited what he's been doing and really glad to see him back on Raw as well. Barrett versus Gabriel, very interesting matchup, seeing that both guys were formerly in Nexus. Hell, even the Connecticut crowd started chanting, "We want Nexus" during the course of the match, very, very loudly, to the point where Michael Cole even mentioned it. And also, speaking of Michael Cole, he was on commentary during the course of the night with JBL and Jim Ross, a commentary dream team. Just throw in William Regal and you have yourself the best commentary team in history. But however, this was the best commentary team in years. I love JBL. Love Jim Ross. Michael Cole has been obviously on my nerves in the last few years since he joined commentary and started turning heel. However, tonight that was not the case. He was very, very classy. He played the face in this situation while JBL played the heel. That was great, much like their SmackDown days 5 years ago. So that was a really, really nice touch of the show. They really helped enhance the product here on Raw with their commentary. So back to Barrett versus Gabriel, quick squash match. I liked it for what it was, but Barrett goes over. He needs more of a heat. He needs more of a reaction. He needs more heat going forward if he wants to become a world champion anytime soon. So that was good that they re-exposed him to the Raw audience. Hopefully he can start cutting promos on Raw so the Raw audience starts to get familiar with him, or back familiar with him again after his Nexus days, and then he became irrelevant shortly thereafter. So hopefully he can get back to that stature that he was once at, and he can once again, or for the first time ever, become the first inaugural British World's Heavyweight Champion. Moving on, WWE Tag Team Championship match. Newly crowned champs Kane and Bryan successfully retaining against the team of Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, a good match, probably not as good or dramatic as their match in Night of Champions, but still good nonetheless, very well wrestled. Kofi Kingston and R-Truth showed no signs of dissension, which I wanted them to, because I want Kofi to turn heel on R-Truth, and then that would be awesome, or vice versa. But they need to break up. I'm glad that they used up their rematch clause tonight, or on Raw, I should say. Mostly because Kofi and R-Truth have done nothing for me as a team. I like them much better as single stars. Hopefully they continue to go that route, and candid continue to dominate the tag team division. So I'm really, really glad that they retain the titles here and go over in dominant fashion as well. Kane and Bryan, as I said in past videos, are the biggest, most entertaining act in WWE today. Hopefully they keep going forward with new material and keep it going, because they've been absolutely hilarious for about a few months. Going on, Randy Orton versus Tensai. We saw this match on SmackDown last week, so there's really nothing really new here. It was a decent match, but again, we saw it on SmackDown, so there was nothing really new, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing really to care about. Randy Orton picks up the victory. No Dolph Ziggler sighting, so I guess their feud is over, as I said before. Sadly so. Up next, we have Damian Sandow versus Zack Ryder. Brief match. I love Zack Ryder. I love Damian Sandow. You put them in a feud together, I think that'd be magic. I know they tried that a few months ago. Didn't really work out. It was cut short. Hopefully they continue to do it though. Damian Sandow and both Sandow and Ryder cut promos before the match, so I like that. So they set up the match nicely. Damian Sandow goes over here. He hasn't been seen on TV in a few weeks, so it's glad that they reestablished him with a victory over Ryder here tonight. Main event, Sheamus and Cena defeating the likes of CM Punk and Del Rio in a tag team match after CM Punk's foot was on the bottom rope. Ref didn't catch it. Cena picks up the victory, and presumably a title match at Hell in a Cell. It wasn't really announced, but we're going to have to see in coming weeks. Nonetheless, CM Punk got really pissed off, arguing with the referee as the show went off the air. A great match, very solid action, nothing all that huge, but nonetheless, it was very, very cool. See Cena go over here, and he needs the contendership, obviously, if they want this feud to continue. I wasn't a fan of the cheap finish. I mean, they've been doing a lot of cheap finishes lately, especially with Del Rio at SummerSlam in his world title match, as well as Christian at Capital Punishment last year when he lost the World Heavyweight Championship match. So they really need to cut the shit with this kind of stuff. They really don't need to make the heels look sympathetic, even though they have reasoning and logic. Hopefully they cut it out, that kind of stuff. But I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of Cena and CM Punk's feud going to Hell in a Cell. And again, Cena was injured. Breaking news: he was injured. He wasn't injured, but he underwent arm surgery today, and he will be out for 2 to 3 weeks, not 4 to 6 weeks as some people were originally speculating. It has since changed to 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the feud going into Hell in a Cell. As the show overall, I thought it was a really, really good show. Not a lot of huge, meaningful stuff happening. However, nonetheless, I thought it was a fun show. They can't really rush into anything with Hell in a Cell in 6 weeks. So hopefully they go forward and they continue to build storylines and they don't have like a show like this every single week. But again, I was disappointed I wasn't able to go. Hopefully I'll be able to go to a Connecticut show in the next couple of months, or even WrestleMania 29 in New Jersey next April. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Raw. Make sure to subscribe, watch all my other videos. Make sure to hit me up on Twitter if you have any comments, questions, or concerns. @SAVE_GSM. Enjoy your week, guys, in this GSM. Signing out. Till next time, guys.